Okay. Well, you know what I think we're going to do is jump right into Hamilton now then. Let me start. Raise your hand. Everyone, raise your hand, thumbs up or thumbs down, if you have heard of Hamilton, if you like Hamilton. If you have heard of Hamilton, you like Hamilton, you see Hamilton, put your thumbs up. Okay, a bunch of you put thumbs up. Very good. I'm glad to see. I appreciate your engagement. Now, let me tell you about it. I'm an expert. I love the play Hamilton. I've seen it on Disney Plus. I've seen it at the Pantages. I've gone through it. I'm an expert on Hamilton. And I'm going to tell you a few things that you perhaps don't know. The first is, it's a brilliant musical. And the reason for that, there are a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons it's a brilliant musical is it taps into R&B, rhythm and blues, the British pop, hip hop. It taps into rap. Virtually every major genre of music in the last 50 years, Hamilton taps into the Broadway musicals of the 50s. It really borrows a lot, which is great. The other thing about it is that Hamilton, the play Hamilton, expresses all the range of human emotions. It expresses adventure, it expresses fear, it expresses sorrow, it expresses lust, and it does that through the music, through the lyrics, and it really powerfully combines these things in a really engaging way. One of the interesting experiences, I've taught on this so much, and I've asked high school classes what your favorite song is. And one of the most interesting realities is that everybody has a different opinion as to which song they like the most. So, it isn't like some musicals where there's only 2 or 3 songs that really resonate. Almost every song of Hamilton is somebody's favorite. Okay, so that's another interesting thing. But does anybody know who Alexander Hamilton was? Can we start by just sharing? Can anyone tell me who it was, Alexander Hamilton? Does anybody know what historical figure he was? We'll get into that. Now, let me just start. Okay, the guy on the left here is Christopher Jackson in real life, and he plays the part of George Washington. And the one on the right is Lin-Manuel Miranda, who wrote this amazing musical and wrote this song, and he plays the part of Alexander Hamilton. And Alexander Hamilton was George Washington's aide in the American Revolution. In the Revolutionary War, he was George Washington's aide. And he was also George Washington's Secretary of the Treasury. Does anyone know what bill they find Alexander Hamilton's face on?
The $10 bill.
The $10 bill. And so if somebody asks you for a Hamilton, they're asking you for a $10 bill. So this begins in the White House, and this was done around 2014, 2015, I think. And so listen to the music and the words, and then we're going to analyze them together.
Mr. President, you asked to see me. I know you're busy. What do you need, sir? Sir? I want to give you a word of warning. Sir, I don't know what you heard, but whatever it is, Jefferson started it. Thomas Jefferson resigned this morning. You're kidding. I need a favor. Whatever you say, sir. Jefferson will pay for his behavior. Talk less. I'll use the press. I'll write under a pseudonym. You'll see what I can do to him. I need you to draft an address. Yes, he resigned. You can finally speak your mind. No. He's stepping down so he can run for president. Good luck defeating you, sir. I'm stepping down. I'm not running for president. I'm sorry, what? One last time. Relax. Have a drink with me one last time. Let's take a break tonight, and then we'll teach him how to say goodbye. To say goodbye. You and I. No, sir. I want to talk about neutrality, sir. With Britain and France on the verge of war, is this the best? I want to warn against partisan fighting, but pick up a pen, start writing. I want to talk about what I have learned, the hard-won wisdom I have earned. As far as the people are concerned, you have to serve. You could continue to serve. No, one last time. The people will hear from me one last time. And if we get this right, we're gonna teach them how to say goodbye. You and I. Mr. President, they will say you're weak. No. They will see we're strong. Your position is so unique, so I'll use it to move them along. Why do you have to say goodbye? If I say goodbye, the nation learns to move on. It outlives me when I'm gone. Like the scripture says, everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. They'll be safe in the nation we've made. I want to sit under my own vine and fig tree, a moment alone in the shade, at home in this nation we've made. One last time, one last time. Reviewing the incidents of my administration, I am unconscious of intentional error. I am nevertheless too sensible of my defects not to think it probable that I may have committed many errors. I shall also carry with me the hope that my country will view them with indulgence. That after 45 years of my life dedicated to its service with an upright zeal, the faults of incompetent abilities will be consigned to oblivion, as I myself must soon be to the mansions of rest. I anticipate with pleasing expectation that retreat in which I promised myself to realize the sweet enjoyment of partaking in the midst of my fellow citizens, the benign influence of good laws under a free government, the ever-favorite object of my heart, the happy reward as I trust of our mutual cares, labors, and dangers. One last time. Teach them how to say goodbye. You and I. Going home. History has its eyes on you. Yeah. We're gonna teach them how to say goodbye. Teach them how to say goodbye. We'll say goodbye. Say goodbye one last time.
That's magic. And what an incredible gift these folks have given to the United States of America. It is rare where a piece of art can remind us about what's best in ourselves. And that's what these guys have done.
Yeah.
And that is a great gift. So with that, let me know how to say goodbye. Thank you so much, everybody.
Okay, did you guys like that piece of music? Okay, here's what we're gonna go in, and I'm gonna break it down lyric by lyric and we'll discuss it. But I wanna start with what year would this discussion between Washington and Hamilton have taken place. First of all, the Constitution was written in 1787, and it was ratified and George Washington became president in 1788. How many terms did George Washington serve? Can anyone tell me? You can put up your fingers and show me how many terms did George Washington serve? Somebody says 1, 1, 3, 1. Oh, somebody said 2, didn't they? I saw 2, didn't I? Okay, you guys think he served 1 term. George Washington served 2 terms. So how many, you know, a lot of you wrote chatted here. Okay, 2. Some of you got it right. He served 2 terms. And so what kind of an example did Washington set by serving 2 terms? And the name of this song is One Last Time. And it's about Washington teaching them how to say goodbye. And we're going to get into that now more. I'm going to show you the music at the Kennedy Center a few years ago when this was presented by the cast, and you'll see how they matured. And you'll see how their music, they really grew in so many ways from the presentation you just saw. But I'm going to go in and I'm going to break the lyrics down piece by piece at this point and push on, okay?
I want to give you a word of warning.
Okay, now, what is Washington going to warn Hamilton about? Does anyone know? He says, I want to give you a word of warning. Okay, let's go on and look more at the next line, okay?
Sir, I don't know what you heard, but whatever it is, Jefferson started it.
So what does this mean? Who is it that Washington's warning Hamilton about? Type it in here and tell me. Who is it that Washington's warning Hamilton about? Okay, Thomas Jefferson, you guys got that. Very good. Now, I am going to, let me see. I'm going to pull up and show you guys a PowerPoint I have. Let me see if I can get it. Okay, I'm going to pull it up this way. Can you guys see my screen now?
There's a black box in it.
Can you, oh, you can't, okay, hold on here. There's a black box in the screen.
It's fixed.
It's what?
It's gone now.
It's gone now?
It's
okay.
gone.
I can see it.
So what do you see now?
The lyrics.
You see the lyrics, okay. That I'm trying to share with you, Thomas Jefferson, but anyway. Okay, well, you know what? I'm not going to show you the pictures. I'll show the pictures at the end then. Okay, so Washington says he warns him about Thomas Jefferson. What is Hamilton's response to Washington's statement, Thomas Jefferson resigned this morning? By the way, does it sound like there's bad blood between Jefferson and Hamilton? Does it sound like they've got some bad blood going on there, folks?
Yes.
Okay. So how would you guys describe, and by the way, I've never really figured out how to use Zoom that well. Oh, I just okay, here it is. It's disbelief. So I got it. I pulled it up. Megan, he's in disbelief. That's right. Is there any emotion other than disbelief? Is he happy? Is he sad? How would you describe it that way? I'd say it's shock. The boxes are back. Can you guys see it now?
There's one in the top right.
I think the box is the chat thing. Can you guys see the lyrics?
Yes.
Okay. So Hamilton says, whatever it is, Jefferson started it. So there's obviously some bad blood between them here. And Thomas Jefferson, Washington says, resigned this morning. Hamilton says, you're kidding. Let's go on to the next
Jefferson
lyric.
resigned this morning. You're kidding. I need a favor. Whatever you say, sir. Jefferson will pay for this behavior. Talk less. I'll use the press, all right.
Okay, let's talk about this. Washington says, I need a favor. And I'll tell you what the favor is that Washington's going to discuss with him. He wants Hamilton to help Washington write his farewell address to the nation, which is one of the most significant political messages from a president to the people in American history. There's only one presidential address of more significance historically in American history than Washington's farewell address. Can anybody type in or break in and tell me what is the speech given to the American people by a president that is even more important and significant than Washington's farewell address? Does anyone know? I'll give you a hint. It was written by Abraham Lincoln. Nobody knows. It was the Gettysburg Address. It was the Gettysburg Address. And Washington's farewell address is considered the second most. Now, one of the main reasons for that is Lincoln's farewell address, Lincoln's Gettysburg Address had 278 words or something, whereas Washington's farewell address had over 6,000 words. So a lot of it is the fact that Lincoln's is easy to memorize compared to Washington's, okay? Hamilton says, whatever you say, sir, Jefferson will pay for his behavior. So there's really obviously some bad blood there. And Washington says, shh, talk less. And Hamilton responds, I'll use the press. I'll write under a pseudonym. You'll see what I can do to him. Can anybody tell me what a pseudonym is? That's a really good word. You guys should learn what a pseudonym is. Can anyone tell me? Fake name. Very good. Braden says fake name. What is the purpose, Braden, or anyone else can tell? What is the purpose of writing under a pseudonym? To make sure no one knows your name. Braden, very good, Braden. Exactly. It's so that you can maintain anonymity. You can maintain your who you are. That's why they use pseudonyms. Now, I just want to mention in passing that they used mostly Roman pseudonyms like Brutus, Cassius, Publius. They used these various Roman names. And so let's go on and listen to the rest.
Right under a pseudonym, you'll see what I can do to him. I need you to draft an address. Yes, he resigned. You can finally speak your mind. No, he's stepping down, so he...
So Washington says he's stepping down, and Hamilton's pretty happy he's stepping down. As it sinks into Hamilton, he becomes, wow, this is great, Jefferson stepping down. And then Washington responds, no, he's stepping down so he can run for president. Now, I told you that Washington became president in 1788, and I told you that he served 2 terms. So you need to put your noggins on, you need to put on your thinking cap and tell me, what year is this discussion taking place between George Washington and Alexander Hamilton? 1796. That is very good, Braden. You know, the last class couldn't do that. That's exactly right. It's 1796. Question: who became president in 1796? Who was elected to the presidency in 1796? Was it Thomas Jefferson? Who was it? Does anyone know? Type it in there. John Adams. Conlin got that right. Very good. Conlin. John Adams. Did Thomas Jefferson ever become president? Does anyone know? Can someone say whether? Yes, he did. What year did Jefferson become president? What year, Conlin, since you're so smart? Conlin, what year did Jefferson become president? I'm waiting for somebody to tell me what year. Okay, I'll tell you, I'll make this easy for you. John Adams only served 1 term, and you're right. Thomas Jefferson was the 3rd president, and John Adams only served 1 term. So what year? Okay, Queen Victoria says that it was 1801. He actually became president. I'm going to add one thing to that fact. He became president, was elected in 1800. He became president, actually. He was sworn in 1801. And that was called the Revolution of 1800. But let's go on and listen to more of the lyrics here.
He can run for president. Good luck defeating you, sir. I'm stepping down. I'm not running for president. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop share. We're gonna talk for just a minute on this because I really do want to go to
Sir, I'm stepping down. I'm not.
I really do want to go to my PowerPoint. We're going to go back to Hamilton's one last time. You guys can see it now, right?
I'm sorry, what? One last time. Relax, have a drink with me. One last time. Let's take a break tonight, and then we'll teach them how to say goodbye. To say goodbye, you and I.
No, sir.
I want to talk about neutrality.
Sir, with Britain and France on the verge of war, is this the best
I want
time?
to warn against.
Okay, let's talk about this for a minute. Okay, so he says, one last time, have a drink with me one last time. First of all, that's a very intimate act. For Washington to say to somebody, have a drink with me, that's an intimate act. Have a drink with me. There's symbolism in that. And then he says, let's take a break tonight, and then we'll teach them how to say goodbye, to teach them how to say goodbye, you and I, okay? So so you see the power in that of Washington teaching them how to say goodbye, how he is actually, do you see the power in what Washington is saying? He's going to teach them how to say goodbye. That's just really significant. Do you guys see it now? Can you tell me?
Yes.
Okay. I want you guys to really look at this picture. And this is Washington tendering his commission. He has his army officers all around him. And who's he giving his commission to? His general's commission. He's going to go back to Mount Vernon. Who is this being tendered to? Somebody tell me. Oh, shoot. Can you guys tell me? I cannot see your chat right now. Can you guys tell me who is
Congress.
He's giving it to Congress. Thank you so much. Okay, you're exactly right. And now I see your chats. Okay. So I am trying to get back to Zoom right now, and I'm really having a difficult time. Okay. I'm going to just stop screen share. We're going to go back. Okay. So, okay, did you see the power of that portrait, though? Wasn't that a beautiful portrait of Washington and Hamilton? Hamilton was in the background there, but wasn't that an amazing portrait of Washington giving his commission? Now, I want to ask you guys, do you guys understand how important it was for Washington to walk away from power after the American Revolution? The song, he says, will teach them how to say goodbye. But my question I have for all of you is, Washington taught them how to say goodbye twice. The second time was when he walked away from power after this presidency. The first time, Bobby, what was the first time he walked away from power, Bobby? Conlon, what was the first time Washington walked away from power? Bobby, think about it. I just showed you a picture of him handing Congress his commission. So he was giving them his commission. What was the first time he walked away from power? Can you think, Bobby? This is not a real hard question. Braden, can you tell me? Braden, come on, Braden, come through for me. What was the first time Washington walked away from power?
General.
Thank you. Ethan, was that you? Ethan.
Me and Conlon.
Good. Okay. It was when he was general. Now, why is that significant? And you're probably wondering, why does it matter he walked away as a general? It's real significant because historically, when people were generals and they had armies that really adored them, like everyone adored Washington, they would take often that army that they had control over and they would march on the civilian government and they would take over the country. That happened in Rome a lot of times. It happened in Mexico. It happened in Central and South America. It happened all over the world, that when great generals control great armies, they would turn around and they would use those armies and take control of the government. Does that make sense? So was Washington not showing that he had a great deal of self-control and he wasn't anxious to acquire political power? And didn't he prove that in walking away from the American army after the American Revolution? Does that make sense? Queen Victoria, would you please put your real name in? I want you all to know I appreciate everyone putting their right name in, and I want Queen Victoria to put her correct name in as well. Okay, so does that make sense to you guys? Let's go in and look at the next part of this, song, okay?
Mr. President, we will say your wish.
Okay, now this is really an interesting line. Hamilton says, Mr. President, they will say you're weak, and Washington says, no, they will see we're strong. Now that's significant because prior to this time, if you were really showing your power, you would hold on to power. You would seize power. You would not relinquish power. And what Hamilton was expressing was the way power was looked at prior to the American experiment in democracy. And Washington's response to that is, no, they will see we're strong. And so Washington injected a new paradigm into this. He turned everything on its head. Washington was saying, we're going to show how strong we are by walking away from power. We will walk away from power and let future generations judge us by proving we don't need to seize power and force ourselves. So do you guys appreciate that? Do you understand how important that was for the new country to have somebody like Washington who wasn't going to impose himself on the country through politically not walking away from power? He voluntarily relinquished the reins of government.
We know they will see we're strong. Your position is so unique, so I'll use it to move them along. Why do you have to say goodbye if I say goodbye?
Okay, now I want you guys to listen to that. You see, Hamilton says, why do you have to say goodbye? Washington says, if I say goodbye, the nation learns to move on. It outlives me when I'm gone. Now, that is a really powerful statement, and Washington actually said that in letters and things. He really wanted the nation to move on. And then he quotes a scripture from the book of Micah, and we're going to look at that very carefully. It's a very moving scripture, and Washington wrote it a lot in letters that we're going to look at here. Let's look at that. What
The nation learns to move on. It outlives me when I'm gone. But the scripture says, everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. They'll be safe in the nation we've made. I want to sit under my own vine and fig tree, a moment alone in the shade.
Okay, so this is a scripture verse from Micah. Everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. And what that is to conjure up is a sense of self-security and satisfaction and freedom and safety. People chilling out under their own vine and fig tree and no one making them afraid. And what Washington is saying is, I labored for this my whole life and I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to walk away from power and I'm going to spend some years. Now, how long did Washington live after he left the White House? He lived only, he left in he stepped down in 1787 and he died in 1797. He stepped down in 1797 and he died in 1799. He lived about 3 years, a little less than 3 years, and then he died. So he wouldn't have lived through a third term anyway. But this is very touching words from scripture that he actually quoted, and we're going to move on now.
At home in this nation we've made one last time. One last time.
Okay, now, in this next segment, I'm going to show you all. Washington Lin-Manuel Miranda actually went back to Washington's farewell address. And these are the actual words of Washington's farewell address, word for word. And so he speaks in the flowery language that they did back then, but it's very powerful words that Washington shares directly from his farewell address. So I want you to look at them.
Though, in reviewing the incidents of my administration, I am unconscious of intentional error, I am nevertheless too sensible of my defects not to think it probable that I may have committed many errors.
Okay, so Hamilton is saying this, but it starts out with Hamilton saying the farewell address, and then they sing it together, and then Hamilton drops back and Washington finishes the farewell address. And what that represents is the real life collaboration that Hamilton and Washington had. They collaborated and wrote this farewell address together. And so it's physically reflected in the way it's sung, where it starts out with Hamilton, they sing together, and then it drops back. But every word is directly from the farewell address.
I shall also carry with me the hope that my country will view them with indulgence.
Okay, now, do you guys, what does he mean here in reviewing the incidents? Can anybody type in and tell me what that means? I'm going to call up chat now and look at it, okay? It's kind of hit or miss. I don't know why I don't get chat as much as I would like to. And I'm not getting it. It's not coming up now. So I can't see it. Okay, here, now I get it. Okay. He thinks he must have made mistakes. Okay. Yeah, you guys are trying. Braden, you're right. He thinks he must have made, very good. Braden, that's very good. I can see you guys typing now, so let's go on.
Also carry with me the hope that my country will view them with indulgence.
Okay. What does that mean? The hope that my country will view them with indulgence, and that after 45 years of my life dedicated to its service with an upright zeal, the faults of incompetent abilities will be consigned to oblivion, as I myself must soon be to the mansions of rest. So first of all, he's reminding people he served this country for 45 years. He so much gave himself to this country. And so what's he essentially asking for? He's hoping that well, why don't you guys tell me? It's not, okay, I'm going to chat now. You know, I don't know what the problem is. It's not working. Okay. Oh, now I got chat. Okay. Me too. He thinks he must have made mistakes. I do not know what indulgence means. Indulgence means that he hopes that Americans will remember that he's human, and with 20/20 hindsight, he might have made some mistakes, but he tried to do his very best. And, you know, that's what it means. It's, Indulgence. Maybe that his thing will be remembered. Okay. What does he mean when he talks about the mansions of rest? Can anyone tell me, what does he mean by the mansions of rest? Can anyone, you guys can hear me, right? What does it mean when it says the mansions of rest, that I must go to the mansions of rest? What he's talking about? Death, yeah. His house, his death, yeah. Okay, so good. Okay, so that's what it is. You guys got it. Okay, you know what I did not do that I really want to do? I want to go back, and I missed a really good part of this that I want to share with you guys again. And here's what the segment was. Okay, now he says, I want to talk about neutrality. What does neutrality mean? And this is actually in Washington's farewell address. Can you guys see me now, by the way? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, now I can't see you. Okay, great. Okay. What does he mean by that? I want to talk about neutrality. This was really in his farewell address. What does he mean by that? Can anyone tell me? What does he mean? I want to talk about neutrality. Nobody knows what he means by neutrality? Are you guys can't tell me what he means by neutrality? Nobody can? Okay. Okay. What he's talking about, what does he say here then? Sir, with Britain and France on the verge of war, is this the best time? Does that give you a little hint about what he's talking about, neutrality? I can't read any of your comments right now. Okay, neutrality, what Washington was warning America about was getting involved in European conflicts. And what he was saying is, I don't want you guys getting involved in silly European conflicts or world global conflicts. I want you to worry about yourselves first, about this country first. Don't get sucked into foreign wars. And Washington was very concerned about that, and he talked quite a bit about that in his farewell address. And then he goes on.
About neutrality, sir. With Britain and France on the verge of war, is this the best time against partisan fighting?
Okay, what did he mean by that? I want to warn against partisan fighting. But pick up a pen, start writing. I want to talk about what I have learned, the hard-won wisdom I have earned. What's he talking about? He's talking about partisan fighting. And I need to know, I want to know, can any of you tell me what he means by partisan fighting here? Does anyone know? Yeah. Okay, we went to Vietnam. We've been involved in foreign wars, and we've really regretted it an awful lot of the time. We realized that getting involved in foreign wars, a lot of times we realized we should have listened to Washington, who said, don't get involved in foreign wars. That's really the bottom line. And I want to go back to this, and then I'm going to, I want to go back to this and point out, I think it was right about here. I want to warn against partisan fighting. Do any of you know what he's talking about when he says, I want to warn against partisan fighting? Can anyone tell me what he's talking about there? Can anyone talk to me when he says, I want to warn against partisan fighting? No one know. Does anyone know what he's talking about? Okay. Okay, you guys can all hear me good. What he's saying, partisan fighting, is he's worried about political parties forming and people not getting along and people being hostile to one another because of politics, where they place their political party above the interests of the country. And so Washington was very concerned with that, with Americans fighting amongst each other politically and being politically polarized. Okay? And so he says, pick up a pen, start writing. I want to talk about the wisdom I have learned. Okay, let's
Of good laws under a free government. The benign influence of good laws under a free government. The ever-favorite object of my heart. And a happy reward as I trust of our mutual care. Labors and danger.
Okay, what does this mean? I anticipate with pleasing expectation that retreat in which I promised myself to realize the sweet enjoyment of partaking in the midst of my fellow citizens, the benign influence of good laws under a free government, the ever favorite object of my heart, and the happy reward, as I trust, of our mutual cares, labors, and dangers. And these are the actual words of Washington's farewell address. It's just really a way of saying I look forward to spending a few years with the rest of this amazing country, this free country that we created and that we sweat and we labor for.
One last time.
Now, in this last part, I want you to imagine what it was like when George Washington left the White House, which at that time I believe was Philadelphia. It might have been New York. It was Philadelphia, New York. And as he went back to Mount Vernon, the roads were lined with people wishing him farewell. The trees were filled with people to get a glimpse of him. The bridges, the church steeples were filled with people wanting to look over and see George Washington as he was going home in his carriage to Mount Vernon, leaving the capital of the country. And it was a period of great rejoicing and respect as they bid farewell to George Washington. And it's really captured, the enthusiasm and the excitement is captured in these last few lines from the music here.
George Washington's going home. Teach him how to say goodbye. George Washington's going home.
Okay, have you guys liked this so far? Okay, now,
Yes.
okay, I'm going to share with you now, and I really want you to be present to this, and it's at the Kennedy Center, the Kennedy Awards.
By the New Works Voices of America Youth Choir, please welcome Christopher Jackson, Alex Lackamoire, and Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Mr. President, you asked to see me.
I know you're busy.
What do you need, sir? Sir.
I want to give you a word of warning.
Sir, I don't know what you heard, but whatever it is, Jefferson started it.
Thomas Jefferson resigned this morning.
You're kidding.
I need a favor.
Whatever you say, sir, Jefferson will pay for his behavior.
Talk less.
I'll use the press. I'll write under a pseudonym. You'll see what I can do to him.
I need you to draft an address.
Yes, he resigned. You can finally speak your mind.
No, he's stepping down so he can run for president.
Good luck defeating you, sir.
I'm stepping down. I'm not running for president.
Sorry, what?
One last time. Relax, have a drink with me. One last time. Let's take a break tonight, and then we'll teach them how to say goodbye. To say goodbye, you and I.
No, sir,
I
why?
want to talk about neutrality.
Sir, with Britain and France on the verge of war, is this the best
I
time?
want to warn against partisan fighting. But pick up a pen, start writing. I want to talk about what I have learned, the hard-won wisdom I have earned.
As far as the people are concerned, you have to serve. You could continue to serve.
No, one last time. The people will hear from me one last time. And if we get this right, we're gonna teach them how to say goodbye. You and I.
Mr. President, they will say you're weak.
No, they will see we're strong.
Your position is so unique.
So I'll use it to move them along.
Why do you have to say goodbye?
If I say goodbye, the nation learns to move on. It outlives me when I'm gone. Like the scripture says, everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree. No one shall make them afraid. They'll be safe in the nation we've made. I want to sit under my own vine and fig tree, a moment alone in the shade, at home in this nation we've made. One last time. One last time.
Though in reviewing the incidents of my administration, I am unconscious of intentional error, I'm nevertheless too sensible of my defects not to think it probable that I may have committed many errors. I shall also carry with me the hope that my country will view them with indulgence, and that after 45 years of my life dedicated to its service with an upright zeal, faults of incompatibility will be consigned to oblivion, as I myself must soon be to the mansions of rest.
I anticipate with pleasing expectation that retreat, in which I promise myself to realize the sweet enjoyment of partaking in the midst of my fellow citizens, the benign influence of good laws under a free government, the ever-favorite object of my heart, and the happy reward, as I trust, of our mutual cares, labors, and dangers. One last time.
Teach them how to say goodbye.
George Washington's going home.
Okay, now what I did today is I went in and gave you some of the background of the musical. Bobby, do we got a problem here, Bobby?
Thank you so much for watching tonight. I've really enjoyed sitting
Oh,
here
you know what?
and talking to you and talking to.
Okay, I started out and just gave you an overview of the musical, and then we delved into that song. When you heard what you just heard, first of all, did you guys notice the cast kind of has grown? They were kind of matured, I guess would be a better word. They matured from the first time at the White House. Did you see a difference there? And when somebody really goes through and explains the meaning of the lyrics, when you hear that, how many of you like this song, or how many of you heard of this song before, by the way? Put your thumbs up if you've heard of this song before. A few of you have heard the song. So, Bobby, did you understand the song in a different way than you had previously? Kinda. Oh, that was, you typed that very fast. Victoria, did you, you said that you'd known the song. Did this give you a deeper appreciation? And this is really, I'll just ask all of you this. Did this give you a deeper appreciation for the song that you may have liked, but now you listen to it and it means a whole lot different when somebody's explained the lyrics and what they're saying? Oh, a lot of you are saying yes. Everybody's saying yes to that. You guys are serious though, right? I mean, you really like that song? Do you, well, you know what? I think all the songs of Hamilton are worthy of loving. And I think, all of them have messages about a history and lessons from history that we can learn. Ethan, you want to sit up a little more, please? Thank you, Ethan. So I know we just have a few more minutes. You guys tell me how you liked, what is it you learned about this song that you did not know before? Megan, is there any reason I can't see you on the screen? Okay, George Washington. So you know what? That's a good point. George Washington stepped down from office. George Washington's greatness was partly in his judgment, but and partly in how he ruled. I don't like to use that term for a president, but in how he led. That's part of his greatness. But Washington's greatness mostly actually is in the fact that he walked away from power, and he walked away from power twice. Bobby, what was the first time you walked away from power, Bobby? I know I'm picking on you, Bobby. When was the first time Washington walked away from power? Because I asked you this before and you didn't know, so you didn't know then, so I'm asking you if you know now, Bobby. General, no, you're right, you got it. So you learned something. What that tells me is that you learned something, Bobby. Ashlyn, what was the second time Washington walked away from power? Why don't you all type in the second important time that Washington walked away from power? Why don't you all type that in and tell me?
President.
That's right. When he walked away from the presidency. President. Josiah, why do you write that way? When he was president. Yeah. Okay, very good. Okay, guys, well, school's over in 2 minutes. Sorry we had trouble getting started. Do you guys want me to do Hamilton again next time? Thumbs up if you want me to do another song from Hamilton. Thumbs up if you want me to do another song from Hamilton. Megan? Okay. Josiah, you want Hamilton again? Okay, I saw it. You all want me to do Hamilton? Okay, we'll do another song from Hamilton.
Yes.
Thank you. Have a good day. God bless you. Bye.